Good day, guys. I'm just doing this little video on the design of a Piggery design, and four walls and a floor and a roof doesn't make a Piggery pen. There's different needs of pigs and at different ages, and they need specialized pens. One of the basics of a Piggery build is your building need to be in an east-west orientation. On summer solstice, on the 31st of December, the shade of the roof falls in the middle of this wall and so on. So we are perfectly aligned east-west and so on. Now, I'll do another video on alignment and how that affects the temperature inside the building and so on. But I'm doing this on the Weaner section. Okay, so we've got weaners in here. The ones in the far pen, the last two pens were weaned last Thursday and so on. We just left them in the farrowing pen for a few days just to get used to mom not being there and so on. And then we moved them over here today. Now, an adaptation to the pen is, now in here there's 30 pigs. Now you can see that they barely fill a quarter of the pen, but by the time they 12 weeks old, when they move to the farrowing shed, they of course are much bigger, and then they also don't need this specialized roof. So just have a look at this roof quickly. Firstly, it's 2 sheets wide, so 2.4 wide, with 2 separate sheets. This one is a little bit higher than the front one, so that you can slide this whole pen, get this whole front half in if you need to clean anything in front. But because they're sleeping there, they don't poo there and so on. You can see here, this bedding hasn't been replaced today. Yes, we have taken out the manure already, but you can see that this is where they poo. Why do they poo here? Firstly, because that is the water. They poo where they have water. They do not try and poo as far away from their feed source as possible. Now, I'll do a video on the feeder, the self feeders and so on, and how I design them. But yeah, so this works by lowering the roof and putting a lip in front. You have got a trapped area where their own body heat gets trapped. And if I go here and I put my hand in here, I can feel that it's like 5 to 10 degrees hotter under this roof than it is here and so on. It's a marked, if you put your face there, you can feel the heat rising up in your face and so on. So you can see this one is slightly higher than that one. By putting a strip of this on the carrier beam, it's now higher, so you can slide this thing very easily up that way. We also made this so that you can, when you do slide it up, you can lift it up, and you can see there's all the piggies having fun in there and eating in the self feeder there in front. But yeah, so these 2 flaps open as well. Now, yeah, so it's crucial that with weaners. So we all know that you need to warm small piggies up. At birth, the ideal temperature is 38 degrees Celsius. Now, we don't all have electricity. We do not have electricity here at the moment, but we're using a method that doesn't require electricity by capturing their own body heat to heat the piglets up. But we all know that you need to do that, and we've got sort of underfloor heating here with a donkey system and so on to heat the water. But if you haven't got that, just a hot box, just again a confined area where you can capture their body heat with a lowered roof and with baffles in front to capture the hot air is a hell of a lot better than nothing and so on. So yeah, you can see that these piggies are very happy. They prefer to sleep under there. It's not a very hot morning, but it's not freezing cold either. It's about 8 to 10 degrees Celsius at the moment. And you can see that most of the piggies are under the roof and so on. Now, We have these things are carried on purlines, which you can see over there. Those pens, that's where the smallest ones are going to come. We work in a circle and so on. So the next lot of small piggies will go into there, and you can see the beams, the purlines that we just bolted to the wall. Those holes were there already from the boxing. So we utilizing the boxing holes to put purlines on as carriers for these boards, and we'll go in a circle. So this is our Weaner shed. So there's 4 pens there, 4 pens there, and they get the oldest ones is from the second pen. The first 2 is empty. We just took pigs over to the farrowing unit on that side yesterday. So they're empty. They're going to be water blasted before we put new piggies in. And then these 2 lids will then go that way. So we just hop forward every time we need. They only need this for the first 2 weeks. After that, they're big enough. They keep each other warm. They sleep together anyway. Pigs, if you put them in 1 hectare, they sleep like this. They lie. You can see they're not cold. They're lying just touching or just not touching each other. If it gets hotter, they lie like this. So they're just not touching. If they're really cold, they lie on top of each other. But you can see these are comfortable. These are already 12 weeks old. 11 weeks. So they'll go over next week and so on. This is the size they come out of here. Now, remember, this takes 12 weeks to get to this size. In the next 8 weeks, they'll gain 3 times the weight that they are now. 2 times the weight. So they'll be 3 times heavier than what they are now. So if they are, I'm not 100% sure, they're about 35, 40 here. By another 8 weeks, they'll be 110, 120 kilos. Okay, so yeah, the farrowing, a Weaner shed with 8 pens. These pens is 2 meters by 2 meters wide by 4 meters in the sleeping area, and then another 1.8 meters for a dunging passage on that side with a little door, obviously. And yeah, I'll do a bit more on the self feeder.